Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in a little bit more in depth in terms of how to understand and remove the influence and effect of brainwashing by someone who you might have experienced who is psychopathic at the workplace, in your family, in your marriage, in your community. And I know that we have a viewer who's asking to discuss this in the workplace. We're going to be doing that on a separate video. Thank you for your inquiry. But we're going to be going into a little bit more in depth in terms of understanding how a psychopath will use a manipulation technique of brainwashing to get sort of control over your operating system, your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, your choices, your decision, and your I am. It becomes sort of fused with this individual. Even though in the beginning it might be in the name of love, it might be in the name of prosperity, it might be in the name of happiness, it might be in the name of romantic love, it might be in the name of compliance or adherence or respect, that you engender this experience with someone who is psychopathic and take on their authority to sort of have a willing authority over you. You might have allowed this when you were vulnerable, you were younger, you were unknowing, you were naive, you were innocent, you didn't know, you didn't have any wherewithal to identify and deal with. So you might have been exposed to this at a very young age or a very tender age or a very important place like a school, like a workplace, like a church, a spiritual support center, a church, a mosque, a synagogue, where you encountered this influence. Someone who is psychopathic does seek to have sort of a dominance bond, a psychopathic bond over others who they really, target in depth, and namely that of brainwashing, which means sort of rerouting and controlling the experience that someone will have while they're in their presence and then affect their behaviors accordingly. Their behaviors to then be almost as a puppet and a puppeteer, meaning I want you to do this, go over there. I want you to do this, go over there. Very much like a hypnosis. It becomes sort of a hypnotic state that people get sort of glued in, attached, transfixed on a psychopath. So it's almost as if you're being controlled, like you see someone who is fire gazing, they're gazing at a fire. They can be just sort of very absorbed and mesmerized by a psychopath. There is a charisma. There's a sort of energy that oozes from them. Thoughts are things, and thoughts are energetic. And so here we have an individual whose thoughts are to control and have power over others. As many as they want, as many as they can, for whatever setting, for whatever reason, small, medium, or large, or extra large, or colossal. This is what they do. This is who they are. This is how they're wired. This is how their brain structures are. Someone who is psychopathic is going to lead you to a breaking point. They're going to wear you down to sort of get into that sort of broken down, compliant level. They're going to either wear you out, by breaking your routine so that you don't sleep as much, you don't eat as much, you don't focus as much, you're not doing your everyday activities, you're not staying in touch with the regular posse or group of people, you're no longer making the emails, the texts to others, taking other pictures. You might change up your wardrobe totally. You might find that you're changing your job totally, that you're no longer focused on what it is, and then there's this element of self-abandonment. Self-betrayal, going against what you know is right. It no longer feels right. It no longer seems important. This is the sort of osmosis, the mirror neurons, which we all have for people who are, have the normal brain wiring. You have mirror neurons, which are your empathy neurons, which allow you to feel and pick up other people's emotions, other people's thoughts. This is part of your physiology, which I think is to a large degree not fully understood. So it's really a frontier and a pioneer, which we have Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton, all engaging in the forefront of this and neuroplasticity. And so to help you to sort of get on track with how you want to be more in attune with yourself, because a psychopath will break that bond and connection and relationship with yourself. sounds really strange, sounds really, intangible. Can this really happen? Well, listen to a lot of the testimony and the examples and the narratives and stories that people have shared here, and you'll see the degree to which the hurt can be experienced. Bringing you to a breaking point, which means, really being just chronically intense. Maybe the way that their communication is all over you. You feel like they're crawling all over you, under your skin, in between your pores, that they have, the intensity of their communication might be so overwhelming that they've broken you down. Either they're so loud, the way that they communicate overwhelms your communication mode. You've sort of tangled yourself up in their, just sort of their franchise, if you will, becoming one with them. So it seems like it's in the name of love, but this can be true brainwashing. And then the abandonment, which means you no longer identify with who you feel you are. You might be proud. You might just, have this as sort of the core of your I am. They will literally dissolve and remove this from your sense of being, which makes it very difficult for people to find their center. They're who they're as a whole autonomous individual, and without feeling anxiety or guilt by living in this space. The brainwashing will cause a deliberate breakdown of that, identity. You might have an identity crisis, an identity issue, not feeling that you know what you want anymore, not being able to think clearly, or being overwhelmed on the daily, adrenal fatigue, social anxiety, chronic post-traumatic stress syndrome, and complex post-traumatic syndrome, where you feel alarmed at the littlest of things. You feel that you're walking on eggshells. These are all effects of being brainwashed, and you need to recover that feeling and sense of I am, and change up your routine, especially when you acknowledge and validate where they had broken you down. Did they push you too much to become someone who you weren't? Usually the psychopath wants to sort of groom their supply. Do they want you to become a specific way? Develop a certain part of your character that is sort of leading you off course. You're not really in your element. What is that? And to what degree, do you need to detach, de-identify, and get, distance from that, and to see how they had used that to satisfy their own needs, so that you are like an extension of them and you are not your own person. It's, it's very difficult to make that decision, because oftentimes people are married to these types of individuals or have them as their family members. And really, your family members are some of your first mentors. They are your first role models. They are your templates for how you want to live. I mean, it's just, once again, it's those mirror neurons. It's bonding. It's the neurochemicals of attachment. Yet, when you get too close to a psychopath, you'll start to perhaps see the mask drop. You'll start to see the anger side, the psychopathic rage, where it just feels like a temper tantrum that's unfounded, and as quickly as it comes, it goes away. But the intensity, the psychopathic stare might be very cold, might sort of be very innocuous, and they make you want to sort of give up certain things that you want to, and forsake certain things, or give certain things up that you really need. I don't need a life. I don't need independence. I don't need my own job. I don't need my own car. I don't need my own bank account. You begin to sort of feel this slipping away feeling. Things are losing a grip, that they're taking this from you. This is taking your power. A lot of people say it's vampirism. Whatever you want to call it, a psychopath will be able to do this on a level that is not found in the everyday normal population. We're talking about psychopathic brainwashing, 1% to 4% of the society. Oftentimes those people who are in high-level positions, these people can be highly intelligent, highly influential in a culture, highly influential in a community, highly influential in a company, a family. I think you understand what I'm talking about. These people want to be beyond the alpha. beyond just the strong authoritarian or leader or perfectionist. We're talking about someone who really just wants to have control, just to show how cool they are, that they are the one with the power. They just want to show it off. I mean, basically, the pre-calculated brainwashing of others is to keep you sort of without, and them the with. It's the have and the have nots. They're going to create this divisiveness, this division, this separateness. And they're going to be the one who's sort of looking like the knight in shining armor when they're really not. It's, even though others have done the work, are responsible, they're not going to want to give credit. And so the I am begins to sort of dissolve. You feel that you're sort of just, with them. You're with your, you just sort of lose a sense of your own strength because it's leached from you. It's taken out. We're talking about your energy. We're talking about your life energy. What makes you feel alive. A lot of people feel very stagnant and very stuck after the brainwashing. And so you might feel that they're trying to pressure you to confess something that you don't even believe in. Like, yeah, I don't want to have a relationship, or I don't want to have a job, or I don't want this, or, all of a sudden you're confessing something of a wrong that you did not commit. You'll feel like this is ludicrous, this is crazy, but you feel pressured to do something, and you feel that you're just sort of going along and you're an empty vessel. Those are brainwashing. Those are the red flags. Those are the experiences. You need to get out and get away from the source that's creating this effect in your life. Restore your sense of I am. We talk about, especially in the membership, we talk about the astralmation box. We call about your astralmation box, your aspiration box as well. Astralmations and what is the word that I'm looking for? Here we go. Astralmations and aspirations. So you aspire. So it's where an energy, heart energy comes up, wants to lift you up and sort of move you in the right direction to the next level. So you're sort of ascending. You're going along with the flow. Flow is back in your life. This is a good thing because then you have things moving. It doesn't mean you have to have a lot of exertion, create all sorts of radical changes, but it's a change of perspective, a change of awareness, and a change of consciousness once you've experienced this. So you need to really understand, the cause that's created this effect, and that you can emerge stronger, cleaner, and clearer and sharper after coming through this sort of very difficult time. If you've been through an experience with someone who has tried to indoctrinate you to a way that you feel about yourself, which you don't really own, and then you feel that you have to sort of confess to a wrongdoing that you didn't even commit, and that even though they sort of pressured you to do something, it's just wrought with, it's just like a very convoluted psychopathic word salad that you will experience, and it's unique to this individual. And for a lot of people, it can be so overwhelming and so all-encompassing that it's difficult to separate themselves. They don't know who they will be or feel or what they'll do without this individual. It's a sign, I would say, of addiction, and you just need to rid them out. No matter if it seems illogical, wrong, you just need to get away. You need to go no contact. You need to breathe back into your own body, come back into your own senses and resensitize yourself. And very important is the astralmation and the aspiration box that we talk about, and to prime the subconscious with these. Begin to work in harmony and in alignment with this wholeness. So your wholeness can be restored to the point where you go, wow, I am this individual. I am this growing living being, and I am vibrant. And you allow this sort of new shoot of life to come out of you energetically, just like a new little plant with an embryo. You can emerge with a new sense of newfound life and prosperity and happiness and serenity once you work on your astralmations and your aspirations. You write them down very simply, 3 to 7 words. We're not talking about writing big, huge paragraphs, flowery language, things that are of the intellect. we're really talking about matters to restore it in your heart and in your gut, where you've also got neurons, which are the cells that make up a lot of the mind. You also have these in your solar plexus in the gut. Let's get this back up and running for you. Let's get your values back online. Let's get your I am back online. Let's get your becoming back online. Let's get your better behavior, your better feeling, your pod thinking, positive, orderly direction thinking, back online, so you know where the flow, like a river, is meant to carry you. The positive momentum, the positive I am. It's going to feel different than when you are under the influence of this individual. You need to have some time apart. What if we're living together? You might need to make some big decisions. You might need to actually become decisive. Make more decisions. Make more choices. Face your fear. Have courage. Have curiosity. Begin to pursue knowledge. Begin to educate yourself. Begin to take care of yourself. Responsibility and accountability for where you at, what you have, how you feel, how you're becoming, what you're pursuing, and what you're manifesting in your life. It's time to take 100% responsibility. Even if this is a very young, tender part of yourself, it is very subtle. This might have need to be attended to for some period of time. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't feel that you then have to sort of make this false admission of guilt when you are not guilty. Hold true to your truth. Hold fast to your truth. Don't be distorted. Don't be disorganized. Don't be misled. Don't be brainwashed. It's okay. Even if you've been sort of a people pleaser up until now, and part of that has, caused you to attract a lot of malignant narcissists and psychopath into your life to this day, it is okay. It is the time to change. You don't have to wait a minute longer. Make the change right now. And so it is. Be decisive. I'm making a change. I'm no longer allowing myself to be broken down and corroded and corrupted and experiencing suffering at the hands of this individual. Period. End of story. Enough is enough. I am. You have control over all this. Not only your body, but your energy, your emotional body reaches out 9 to 10 feet around you, behind you, above you, and below you. You are more than just this body. You need to understand that there's more than meets the eye. You need to come into your power, your I am, and allow it to take you places and connect with people who are in your best interest, that are different from this type of narcissist or psychopath, who are different. It might take some time. You might meet these individuals in a couple days, within a couple hours, in a couple weeks, or in a couple years, but they will come. Recovering and restoring your sense of I am as a whole individual, complete individual, is so important. So, and this is on many levels. So being able to have your own credit, have your own vehicle, have, your own taxes wherever you are, have your own private place where you keep your stuff, have your I am, and not have it corroded and just sort of walked over by others. If you have psychopaths in your workplace or in your home, you might find that you feel that your belongings aren't even yours. They pick them up. They, eat your food. They do whatever. They sort of take over yours as their own. Stop giving away the power. No thank you, I need that. No thank you, I need that. If you're afraid to say no, then say no. If you're afraid, to confront your fears, then confront your fears. I'm telling you, you can do this. It's not as bad as the fear is making it out to be. Fear is false evidence appearing real, or false ego appearing real. Get out of the false ego, oftentimes, that has been created as a result. Remember those mirror neurons that we have that are our own empathy neurons. If you're around, it's my feeling, if you're around a lot of narcissists or psychopaths, your mirror neurons are going to cause you to create a sort of alter identity to be a counterforce to their alter identity. So you do kind of create, when you're with them, a false self, which doesn't feel like you're living your own life. You're living according to their control, their power. You're on their grid, their blueprint. So you need to back it up and say, I am living my life. I am living my life. I am living my life. And take it back. Take it back. Pull it back within. If you're always anxious, sort of, then you need to calm that down. Being anxious, being stressed is not where your best choices and your best decisions are coming from. You will get there. The speed will come, but you need to be deliberate about taking your power back. I am taking my power back. And as you state that in your affirmations and your identity becomes strong with that, you'll be able to see more clearly when other people cross your path who are the ones who are trying to take your energy. You will see it clear as day because you're developing a sense of knowing and wisdom. You'll see what they do. You'll see how they manipulate others to have reactions that are pleasing to them, where they're then sort of using them for energy and supply. It becomes a real transformation, and you can change the beat of your heart. You can change the beat of your drum to be one of your own and to lead you on the path that does take you to the bigger, the better, and living that dream that you really originally wanted. I feel that a lot of people who have been experienced with a lot of people who are psychopath, they end up giving up their dream. They end up giving up their I am. They feel that they've lost a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of hope, and they become hopeless. They develop, something called a learned helplessness, where they learn to be down. They're, taking the commands that they don't have what it takes, that, you're a loser, you're defeated, da 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 da, and then their life becomes smaller and smaller. Learned helplessness, just like the elephant who is taught to stay right around the pole, that if it tries to leave that pole, it'll be yanked out and it'll receive, tension, it'll receive pain. Just like we talk about in those stories, of the elephant trainers who train the elephant to just stand right by a metal pole, and that eventually they can take that noose off and the elephant still has learned to be stuck. So the elephant will never walk away, even though there's no rope, even though it's free. It won't make those steps because it's got a muscle memory that it cannot move any further. It's been trained, it's been programmed, it's been conditioned to be helpless. So that oftentimes is very much the experience of what a relationship with a malignant narcissist or a psychopath can lead you to. You feel like, oh my God, my life is way off track, man. How am I going to get back on track? How do you do it? You get back on track. You get some traction. It might feel that you're, the path is sort of crumbly. It might feel that it's very craggy. It might feel that it's very rocky. Don't worry. You've got heavy duty emotional tires and traction that can make it through. The emotional traction, the emotional just sort of getting a grip and getting a handle comes and begins with your affirmation and coming into your own body, meditating, getting into your core. I am being able to get there and live there and be strong in order to see through the junk that the narcissist and the psychopath, the pathological lies that they will continue to really lay on those people who they want to brainwash. Exit the brainwashing, recover your sense of self and your I am. And oftentimes people are looking to others to do this work for them. They're looking to the narcissist to define them. They're looking to the psychopath to define them. They're looking to others to define them. You really want to look to yourself to define yourself. Peace and harmony, I've never experienced this before. Okay, got it. You've never experienced this before, so now it's time for you to be the champion over yourself, to be the parent that you never had over yourself, to be the best friend that you never had for yourself, to be the confidant that you never had for yourself, to be the mother, to be the father, to be the family, to be the coach, to be the lover, to be the best friend, the one who really is there to cradle you when you need it. Be that unto yourself. Know that you have that restorative power. Give it to yourself. I am the best comfort to myself. You are a champion. You are the champion. You are the comforter unto yourself. Begin to really repeat and drill and emphasize that. And don't feel that you have to give anymore, that you can sort of stop the relationship in its tracks. You don't have to go back, explain, and justify yourself. It's okay. You don't have to backtrack. You might want to reflect on some of the issues that happened, yes, but you definitely want to recover your sense of I am, especially in the astromation box we talk about, and the aspiration boxes are very close and very akin to working together in harmony to establish your vision and taking the action and the behavior steps in that direction. You need to be making some new decisions, going some new places, taking a risk for yourself, an educated risk, meaning taking some workshops, meeting some new people, picking up a new talent, picking up a new skill, picking up a new associate's degree, going back to school, doing some online classes, educating yourself, doing what you need to do to get back into your I am and fulfillment, and stop all the emotional junk that makes you feel sick, that it's like junk food. And da 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 da. Get out of that emotional junk that makes you feel sick. It makes you feel that you're empty of happiness, you're empty of nutrition, you're empty of energy. Discard those negative thoughts. Let them go. Just release and let go of the negativity. Allow it to go. You don't need that to function. You don't need the negativity to function. You don't need that. You can live in the positive, in the I am, without all the coping mechanisms that these relationships will encourage for you. And not only will they encourage, but they'll reinforce and continue to keep you as an enabler of your own disempowered self, and they'll keeping you held back, keeping you small in those self-limiting beliefs. Don't be fooled. You don't need that negativity to grow. There's always going to be some degree of stress or things that come up. You can handle that, but it doesn't need to be an ongoing chronic experience of unhappiness, of stress, grinding your teeth, throwing your back out, getting the stomach flu, getting the flu, your immune system breaking down. All these, the adrenals running havoc in your life. You don't need that negativity to grow. See, and another clue today that I'll have you complete, which I picked up from a seminar, is choose one word today, one positive word that you want to focus on. And see if you can then see if it comes up, how many times it comes up. For example, the word happy. I want to focus on the word happy, on happy today. So that's going to be my word of the day. And I'm going to keep my eyes open for any signs that are in resonance, that are in alignment with this feeling. And I'm going to kind of notice what that is. So if I see the word sunny, that makes me feel happy. That is in alignment. When I see two people getting along, that is happy. So choose a word today that you resonate with. You can write it down, but make it your word today, and then see if you can find any other symbols or experiences that are speaking to that, and then make note of it and help it enrich and enhance your internal experience in your healing journey moving forward. Exit the brainwashing and instead reignite your own self and your own passion. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Have a beautiful day.